Good evening to you both. And let's begin with the continued spread of measles in our province. As of Thursday, the total active case count reached 50, with 4 being added in the central zone, bringing that region to 26 confirmed cases.
This is very localized, and when it becomes, if and when it becomes something that is more than just a localized concern, then we will absolutely make sure that the Chief Medical Officer Health is out there.
We respectfully disagree with that statement.
Health officials calling for better communication and a plan to improve vaccination rates for children 2 and under from 69 to 95%, focusing on communities with the lowest uptake, some as low as 11%.
If it carries on growing, someone's going to die from measles in Alberta.
Infectious disease specialist Jason Tetro says once cases surpass the 50 mark, health officials will be challenged to identify individual exposure locations.
We got to get people starting to realize that measles is now in their community and is posing a threat.
Albertans unsure about vaccination status, encouraged to call 811 or check My Health Records. Bob, what do you make of measles returning to the spotlight now in such a significant way, right here in Alberta?
Yeah, it seems to me like after the pandemic that government leadership changed, that messaging for vaccinations just kind of went away or was diminished in some sense. Now, I remember having to just get these when I was in school when I was a young kid, but I think that you can see that they're not really taking it that seriously, and probably need to be.
Tom, how much of a difference do you think messaging would make if it is that the medical officer of health comes out and addresses this issue publicly?
I don't know what Dr. Mark Joffe is doing with his time, but this is an urgent medical crisis, and that sounds like it's in his job description. Adriana Lagrange does not have a medical degree, as far as I know, and a certain number of people just tune out when it's a politician. So I absolutely think that the medical officer of health needs to speak out.
Bob, how much of this is a medical issue to address? How much of it is political? Who do you feel should be out front, taking the lead?
Well, yeah, I think the government definitely needs to take a leadership role on this, as they did during many of these crises. But I don't think it's in their will to do this. So, and it's definitely a medical thing as well. Now, like as Tom said, Dr. Joffe needs to get out in front of this, but I know he's probably taking his orders from the leadership of the UCP. So maybe it's time to just get out ahead of this, because it seems to me like an airborne disease that's getting away from us.
Yeah, some potentially scary times. All right, next up, navigating a whole new vehicle buying dynamic. The Auto Experience, formerly known as the Edmonton Motor Show, is back for the first time since the pandemic and at a crucial time.
If you're wanting to gather all the information on your next purchase and what tariffs may apply or not apply, this is the best place for you to come.
And the first consideration, where a vehicle is made.
A lot of it has to do with the percentage of parts in that vehicle that come from Canada and Mexico. The real economics of it, there is a good chance that you're going to see an increase in the price of vehicles.
Now, for many in the market, price uncertainty brings buying uncertainty.
Who knows, 25%? Wow, it makes a vehicle, it gets expensive real quick. So I think that's my biggest question on where they come from.
It just feels patriotic at this time with with all the politics, and especially with Trump saying that Canada should be the 51st state.
American-made motorcycles are also caught up in the mix thanks to Canadian counter tariffs, and that's spurring a rush in sales.
As the tariff got introduced March 4th, Indian motorcycles stopped shipping. So yeah, we're very limited. So we're coming up into our busy season, and the units are leaving fast. Once they're gone, they're gone.
It is also expected that as new vehicle prices rise, demand will increase in the used market, driving up those prices as well. Tom, from those buying vehicles to anyone selling them, even maintenance and repairs, how big of a shakeup do you see coming for the entirety of the automotive sector?
It all depends how long the tariffs stick. And I was really impressed that the people working the booths at the Edmonton Auto Experience are able to tell you what percentage is made where. I'm not sure that's really true. One point that's important, though, is that this may drive people to reconsider driving at all. We announced today, our university president, the mayor of Calgary, and the dean of our school, that we're moving downtown. We're moving to 7 floors of the old Nexon building at 7th and 8th. And the reality is, it's quicker for me to take the bus. There's a bus that stops in front of my house. I got there in 8 minutes. I can't warm up the car and park it. So, I'm still going to want a car to do errands and go snowboarding and stuff like that. But I am seriously thinking when car number 2 breathes its last, that we'll be a one-car family again.
Ah, okay. Well, Bob, what then is to be made of maybe pressure weighing down on those who are currently pondering a vehicle purchase? They need a new set of wheels.
Well, I don't want to stop people from buying, but I remember just after the pandemic, my wife needed a vehicle. She paid way too much because the supply-demand was out of whack. But maybe it's a good time to pull the trigger right away. I think it's going to get more expensive no matter what, and I don't know. I wish I could take the train like Tom does, but I need my truck and my motorbike.
and one can fit in the back of the other, right?
Okay.
Right. Well, so Tom, how well prepared are we as Albertans, as Canadians, for the impact of what is likely to come as a consequence of the actions of one Donald Trump?
I heard an interesting quote that anything you can bring in from the U.S., you can buy Canadian. Now, that's not literally true. You cannot get an Indian motorcycle that's made in Canada because they make them in the U.S. However, you get a motorcycle or a tricycle or whatever from Bombardier. So people may just kind of need to adjust their expectations. I look at a vehicle as transport and don't much care what label is on it. So maybe people will come and buy Canadian. That's certainly happening in groceries.
While chaos and uncertainty surrounding the Trump trade war continue to dominate headlines, some positive economic news emerged for our province this week. Alberta's tourism sector enjoyed a 10% boost in visitor spending in the first 9 months of 2024. That's outpacing the rest of the country. And tourism groups met in Calgary this week to strategize on new offerings that will entice even more travelers to visit.
Our job in Travel Alberta is to work with the community and entrepreneurs to find those experiences and accommodations and invest in them so that people will come.
And things are already looking up for the summer camping and RV season.
We're hearing from operators across the country, really, that domestic bookings are up for this summer.
Always have lots of space. And, even with our dollar being so weak, hey, we'll welcome any Americans that want to come too.
Shifting travel trends could also help RV sales, so long as U.S.-made products remain exempt from tariffs, thanks to the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement.
Pricings remain stable, and we continue to steadily order inventory to service this burst in demand.
Visitor spending last year boosted Canada's GDP by $50 billion. Tom, how different a travel and tourism season are you anticipating in our province this coming summer? What do you think it'll look like?
We're seeing it already out on the ski hills. I talk to people in the lifts. Where are you from? The U.S., China, Ukraine even. So we're already getting an influx. And, summer is the beauty season in Alberta. I moved here. I was assigned in 1972 or offered to co-lead with my then girlfriend a bike trip from Jasper to Calgary. And being dumb Americans, we said, what country is that in? And they said, Canada, you idiot. And I fell in love with the place so much so that we actually both moved here. So I think when Americans come up here in the summer and have a look at some of those beautiful places, we're going to see an uptick in applications to move north.
Oh, okay. Well, and now, Bob, given how Trump tariffs and threats have changed our outlook on relations with the U.S., how welcoming do you expect Canadians will be if it is that maybe the lower dollar draws more American travelers north of the border?
Well, I think we will welcome them with open arms and elbows up, metaphorically. But I think there's going to be a big drive. We saw that the canvas auction last night was $3.4 million and set a record for individual tarp bids. So I expect Stampede's going to be busy. I know the mountains are going to be busy because I know my wife's been trying to book camp spots and it's like nuts. So with our dollar and our friendly approach to life, I think we're going to see a lot of tourists.
Tom, that's a look up here north of the border, but how much do you think the U.S. tourism sector will suffer from Canadians choosing not to travel south of the border? Will Americans actually notice or even miss us?
Oh, I hear Florida is really hurting. You know, Disney World was already ridiculously expensive. Now I can tell the kids, I'm sorry, we can't afford it. But one interesting twist on this is I heard that flights across Canada per kilometer are considerably more expensive than flights down to the U.S. So, you know, that's kind of a countervailing thing. And there's some suggestion that maybe those are being subsidized in the U.S. So somebody ought to go look into that.
Ah, there's a new story to pursue. All right, one more topic, and that is the introduction of new security screening systems at the home of the Edmonton Oilers.
Going to scan your tickets first, then you're just going to walk through. That means that you keep your wallet, your keys, everything on you, your phone. You just walk through, and you're in to enjoy the evening.
Yep. Rogers Place is now using advanced sensors and artificial intelligence to scan people as they walk through the gate, one at a time. If a risk is suspected, the system alerts security, and the person will go through a secondary line to be searched. Here's what Oilers fans were saying Wednesday evening.
The old way, it seemed more time-consuming, but yeah, the new way is definitely a lot quicker.
At the beginning, it's a lot of waiting, you know, and you just want to get in, you just want to get to your seat, you just want to look around, so it's not bad.
That's all right. Works for me. As long as we can get in.
Yeah, just as long as we can get in. Okay, the new system will also be used for events in the Ice District Plaza and the Fen Park. Bob, nicely timed with the playoffs rapidly approaching. What are your thoughts on incorporating such technology into sporting venues?
Well, I think that was a playoff dig, but we might make it. I think it's a necessary evil now, Michael, with the way our world is. But it seems like it's faster to get in. I know I went to a Flames game this year, and it didn't take that long. You just got to empty your pockets and everything. But if you can save 5 seconds, 10 seconds of someone's very busy life, I think that people are going to be all right with it.
Tom, where else do you see such screening technology maybe being used? And is this something that we should all just expect to encounter in any number of public spaces moving forward?
Yeah, kudos to Edmonton. I guess you're the first to have this, and it looks like it's going to work really, really well. I did pick up one weird little quirk. It said in the information on it, you have to avoid large backpacks, and they encourage things like fanny packs. Now, this is a fanny pack. It's left over from the 1980s. I dare anyone to wear this thing outside. You know, it's considered to be a mark of being an old geezer. But to answer your question, we're going to see it in hospitals. We're going to see it in schools, obviously airports. We're going to see this technology all over the place. And eventually we'll get so used to it that we won't even know it's happening.
It's kind of like traveling in the UK. Cameras watching you at all times. Okay, gentlemen, we've left ourselves with about 30 seconds each or so for winners and losers. Bob, who or what's topping your lists this week?
Well, I'll go to weather because it's just been beautiful. So we've all been getting outside and enjoying the weather. And the losers are the United States government because they're just lose.
Okay. Tom, how about you take us on?
I second his loser, obviously. I want to bring up a winner that's kind of related. You know, with all the scrubbing of EDI and all that down in the U.S., the pendulum is swinging pretty far. And I was at some kind of conference, and somebody gave me this, which is a piece of moose hide, and it's apparently something called the Moose Hide Campaign, an Indigenous-led grassroots involvement of men and boys, and close to my heart because I write the men's health column, and all Canadians standing up against violence toward women and children. So this is something only in Canada. Moosehidecampaign.ca is the website.
Okay, there's a place to go check out. All right, gentlemen, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you both. Hope you have an awesome weekend.
You too, Michael. See you, Tom.
Bye, guys.